Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Boom Bar right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Dolupo, and I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. This very, what do we call it, wet, very wet Monday afternoon in the city of Lagos State. It promises to be very interesting one. I was going to be talking about quite a number of things today at the bar. It promises to be very interesting. There are a few updates from Rivers State. Rivers State seems to be taking the cake at the moment, is doing a lot. The CBN has said that some people are refusing to repay loans. Also, Portable has been arrested again and again. The funny thing is that now one does not even know that there are two different stories or two different people claiming his arrest, and he's been arrested, he's been granted bail, but he's been remanded because there's no bail conditions have not been met and all that. But we definitely will follow all that news and a lot more things that is going to be happening today at the bar. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. My name is Ola Dolupo, and with me in the studio is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the bar.
Okay, so straight up, we're going straight into the gist of today. First things first, you know, I like to just, some news that are not so, that the gist is not plenty, yeah? I try to just, let's move it quickly so that it will give us time to, stay plenty of the gist. First things first, the CBN. The CBN has announced that a lot of big firms are the ones that are really owing and do not repay their loans. But when I saw this, I was going to say that is it out of place? It's not the first time like you hear big firms or very influential people. You know, when banks release list of people that own their millions and billions, it's always popular people and names and all that. So I'm like, okay, is it surprising, or are you surprised?
The banking system, especially as structured in Nigeria, is built for times like this, for this type of gist, where they tell you things like big firms, or shall we say big individuals in quotes, because some of these firms, not some, all these firms are actually, they actually belong to someone out there. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that from experience, my personal experience, and maybe other people's experiences that we have listened to, why is it that it's always the big firms? Because they don't lend money to the small firms.
Exactly. So
they don't lend money.
Is it news? When I say like, is it news?
If a Dolupo wakes up now and says, "I want to get X millions," they will tell her, "God, bring the king of your village and the entire
my late grandfather's signature,
the entire chiefs in your town,
in my town,
all the land that was given to your great grandfather before." At the end of the day, they just make it so steep because they don't trust you, they don't believe in you. But the people that they trust are the ones that always take their money, and compliance is a big problem. And the funny thing is that there was a time when someone was telling me about one of Nigeria's richest men today. I had a friend that was working in a bank that year. I was saying that they actually pray for this person and they pray long life for him, because the kind of monies that they have lent him, if anything happens to the man like this, game over, So of course,
but doesn't it also show to even the CBN that it shows that there is no standardization? Do you understand? Because if there is proper standardization, all you need to do is whether it's a small firm or a big firm or anybody, if you bring even this, because now why the issue is the so-called things that you will need as maybe a small firm and they won't give you, those big firms probably have those documents already. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So it's easier for them. What I mean by the standardization is that, so what difference does it now make? Because like now they'll tell you to go and bring some, maybe your tax report of 5 years when a company is not even up to 5 years old. Do you understand? All those things, those big firms would have it. So it's, even if we're saying that, let's even remove the fact that, okay, you know somebody knows somebody, they would almost always have those regular documents to get the loans. So what's the point? Like, you're not making it steeper for them. All your regulations and all is just for them to you're just making it easy for them, and that's it.
So again, back to my opening line when we started this discourse. That's what it is. The banking system is not structured to help you. Do you understand? You know how all these new financial institutions, the fintech guys, always draw a lot of bad press and all of that, especially when one thing goes wrong. It shows you that because those guys have come to change the system in a way, they will still have issues. Do you understand?
I get you.
Issues of perception, bad press, and this and that and that. Some corporate espionage here and there. Self, you get. Why am I saying this? There's a fintech that I will not do free advert for. That there's a wallet, which is where you put your money, but then there's the investment part of it, and based on the amount of money you have, every 24 hours, you get credit. Sometimes as high as 100 or 200 naira. Do you understand? And the reason why I like it is that the other main banks that I keep money in, or I bank with,
deduct your
is
money
deduction after. There's a bank that I have not used in about 12 years.
Put money in that account,
and
it's gone.
But I still get debit alerts from them.
It's gone. Oh.
They'll tell me SMS charge. What are you SMSing? I don't even use the account. The money that we used to use the account is gone now. Very soon I'll be owing them.
You will, you will. And trust me, the minute money enters that account.
So when they do that to regular people who are banking with them, what do you expect for the same regular people who now want to get loans? Do you get? Oh, I want to expand my business. I want to scale. They'll say they have heard you. You will speak all the grammar in the world story. But you see, it's the same so-called big firms, the same so-called big men and women that they would just jump at the opportunity of. In fact, they beg them to come and get loans.
Get loans, yeah.
You know, I spoke to a friend once who was a banker, and while she was in Nigeria, and I was telling her about how I needed to do some supplies. Okay, so the thing that they were trying to structure for me was a 6-month thing, and I said I was going to pay back in 3 months, and she was like, "No, if you say 6 months, it has to be 6 months, because the bank has already calculated the profit that they're making off you every month for 6 months." I'm like, but the way he's looking, I can get this money back in 2 months.
They don't send you, Papa. Sorry.
So here we are. Even the CBN, don't they have some kind of work to do?
That's what I'm saying. That I think that even the CBN,
and again, this will sound very naive, but the legislature, the federal legislature, they have their committees with the oversight functions.
Yeah.
You know, there's a way they would really clamp down on the people owing banks, that Nigeria's economy can get a boost from it.
Yes, sir. Remember the ones, there was one time, was it CBN? Some of these banks are releasing people's names and people started returning their money. When you shame, because some people don't have shame. By the time you shame them in newspapers and all that, you start having sense little by little.
At least the ones that have shame.
Anyway, moving on from that, like I said, let's just, go on with, because there's one gist that, anyway, move. TCN has restored power to Bayelsa and Rivers State. So apparently, the 132 kVA Ahoada transmission line had an issue, and it's official. That has now been sorted, and now so power is back to those sides. So just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, it's really very sad how those things happen, and the bulk of the times when these power lines, go down, it's actually sabotage.
Oh, it is. It's not even, it's obvious, and it's not even alleged or anything anymore. It is what it is now. Now, I'm going to move all the way to Rivers State, because there's quite a lot of things we're going to be talking about in Rivers State. First things first, woke up this morning and there's a solidarity march in Rivers State, and this is in support of the emergency rule. So I remember on Friday, we talked about the women rally that were against the NCR, bring back our Fubara and all that, and they had like Ashwebi. Shout out to Yorubas, but it's they definitely had Ankara that all of them picked. Shout out to women. They're very, very resourceful, very quick. And that happened on Friday. Thankfully,
very peaceful match.
Very peaceful, very, very peaceful actually. It seems like it's a thing with women. Shout out to women, you know. Just do your thing and go, which got people's attention. That you cannot take that away. We woke up this morning to see that a larger group of women adorned in all white,
everything,
man, decided to do a march in favor of the emergency rule. Oh yeah, a march, because we can't even call that a protest. It's more of, you know, it was just like I said, the one on Friday, too, very peaceful, nothing untoward happened. And I think this one too, nothing actually happened here as well. But my issue is this matter, I won't call it an issue. Yes, it is an issue actually, now I'm thinking about it. I remember we had talked about this I think it was the day after or a few days after the president had announced the emergency rule. And we're talking about a protest, and you had said, how will some people eat? Because at this point, it's beginning to look like it's a job. Before you know it, one person has done protest. Then there's a counter protest. Then there's are you people like, are we so bereft of ideas?
It's not about being bereft of ideas. It's about following templates. It's about agenda. It's about perception. It's about the court of public opinion. It's about manipulating the media. It's about a whole lot of stuff. You get, and what did I mention template earlier? Yes. So let me say it again. So, you know, it's only when you have people who have diverse thinking and an approach that would maybe look for a more creative way. But as it stands still, thy kingdom come in this country, protesting will be an entire industry on its own.
It's beginning to look like an industry. Really.
There are times when I look at rallies, you see political rallies, and there's this massive crowd. And trust me, there are organic crowds. There are people who have structures and places. But there are times when you also know
it's the same sort of people.
The guy who attended the PDP rally will attend the APC rally. Attend the Labour Party rally.
Attend SDP rally.
We don't know. They've not really had any big rallies.
They've not?
Those are the only three that we've seen
wicked somebody
that likes speaking the truth. Sorry. So, but until they're able to pull it off, we'll use them as an example. You get, I was even saying to myself, like, take it back, people that said they are doing non-stop protests.
After that first day, what happened?
Yeah, we didn't see them again. And it was supposed to be for...
Yeah, wicked somebody.
To thy kingdom
come. That's a matter. I don't know how you just brought it back.
No, anyway, I brought it back because it also has to do with numbers. It always has to do with numbers. When people say they are protesting and they are going to do this, and you look at the Lagos protest, and they didn't even have up to 100 people. And I'm like, okay, basically, what were you counting on for this protest? Maybe that the public would join you and all of that. And that's what usually leads to to riots and hijacks and stuff.
Maybe everybody's just not in the mood.
Yeah.
Everybody's just not in the mood for
it.
Anyway.
But again, just to let you know that the peaceful protest that you witnessed in Rivers State in the last 4 days, the one in support of Fubara and the one in support of
Sola administrator.
No, not him.
Emergency rule
in Rivers State is predominantly by indigenes and citizens of Rivers State. And it's just a subtle advice to people out there. don't get carried away with what you see or read about or you hear, because politics is deeper than that, and everything you see is still all just politics. At the end of the day, it is still politics.
So we're still sticking with Rivers State, but hold that thought, because there's that. I'm coming back to that thought. But before we get to that, the House of Representatives has now set up a committee saying that they're ensuring that the emergency rule would benefit residents of Rivers State. So they're going to be watching closely, which I think it makes sense. It's not, especially if it is in their purview, if they have the powers to do that. Anyway, they're supposed to have oversight functions regardless. So yeah, but going back to the thought where he said, and I think that if we sum it up, is literally, I think that when the saying that goes, nothing is ever as it seems, it should be the definition. Let us say, define Nigeria. Nothing is ever as it seems. And I think that's what Nigeria is. Or I say Nigerian politics, or basically Nigeria, because this is not even politics now, or maybe you call it politics. And why I said so is, we're here on Friday, was it Thursday or Friday, where there was a huge announcement by the NBA, that's the Nigeria Bar Association, and its president put it on social media that they were moving the NBA conference, which they do yearly. They're moving it from Rivers State in protest against the emergency rule, and the NBA does not agree with it, and all that. And I remember seeing hundreds and hundreds of people tweeting and saying that, oh, that's good, that's this. And I remember on this bar where I was going on about how my issue was, what does this do for anybody or anything, yeah? And I remember there was another matter that came up on this matter, like, oh, that sometimes, which was just for educational purposes, that sometimes those things are funded and maybe the funding is not forthcoming. That's why it's being moved.
Maybe.
However, there was funding that would have thought that the NBA in their protest or in the letter announcing that they were moving from Rivers, they should have announced that, oh, in that effect, the money that the suspended governor, to the tune of 300 million naira, was paid for their conference, should be returned.
Yeah, because right now the person in charge, they don't recognize
him, so they're returning River State government money and all that. However, they did not do any of such.
No, they just moved.
Now the River State government has now come to open their behind.
Yeah. So
saying that they are not saying that you should not move your conference soon. Just refund the money that you were given for the hosting rights. Now, I have a question, and before we even get to that point, is NBA supposed to be, how are you a neutral body? And this is not even River State, because we know that they move it from state to state here. How are you a neutral body because this definitely confirms that year in, year out, there is money that is being paid for the hosting of these conferences. How do you now become a neutral body, or are you a neutral body if you get paid by state governments?
Well, that's a very good question, but you know how these things work. It is couched under different systems,
CSR
and all of that. So the thing about it for me is that when you say that you're protesting against the state of emergency, and for this reason you're moving the NBA conference away, you should have added it there that the suspended governor, because it's not former, I almost made a mistake there, the suspended governor had actually offered or had given you as some kind of soft landing or some hosting support 300 million naira or whatever amount it was. That way, nothing that the administrator has said now would be a big deal to people. And that for this reason, you have also decided to pay the money back. That it's never about money when you host these conferences.
Yeah.
But keeping quiet sounds a little bit like you're culpable of some.
Yeah, because if we pick a book from a line from the lawyers and the he who must come with equity must come with clean hands. I think that this taints the image of the NBA.
To a large extent, it does. But you know the sad thing about Nigeria that I've noticed is that it doesn't take us time to move on from things.
Oh yes, it doesn't. I agree. However, it doesn't change the fact that you said you're in protest against the government, but you are holding on to their money.
Because what this sounds like now is that it's because the person that gave you money has been suspended.
So you are protesting
against the person that is there now.
This is now where my own issue is. Like I said, so how are you not partisan?
That's a very good question.
So how are you not partisan?
Because that's what it looks like. It looks like, you're just not happy that your guy lost out, and from the look of things, you're going to make life difficult for the guy that has not given you money yet. So that's what it looks like. I'm not saying that's what it is, because I just feel that they should have mentioned it. They should have actually mentioned it that, you know what, we got money from him, and we don't even care about the money, and we're sending the money back. We're too big for this. How much is 300 million? We're bigger body. The money that our people are even contributing is running into billions. Because I know how big of a deal these conferences are. And the funny thing is, not all of them not all the professional bodies get government support, financial or otherwise. Not all. Some do, but not all. So this one is not a good look on the NBA.
I don't think it's a good look. I think that we're waiting for their reply. Because there definitely has to be a reply. This just is just wrong on all levels. I think it's wrong. I think that, and I think what this also teaches everybody is nothing is really as it seems. We need to be calming down before you jump and
what was the NBA thinking? Like, okay, we are thinking like, this
or maybe he didn't know.
He doesn't have access to
to
expenses.
Maybe.
So we can just say what we want and move on. And
you can't be protesting against someone and hold on to their money.
I'm also waiting. Right. I'm waiting to see the reaction of lawyers to see
on
which side they will be on.
A lot of
on the side of their association or on the side of the truth.
I'm waiting for it because I know that on Friday a lot of people were really vocal about this matter. So I'm wondering why they're suddenly mute. This
does it also mean that apart from the 300 million, the place that they've moved to has also dropped? Does it?
But which makes it easy now. So just return the one and then you're using the new one to do whatever it is you're doing. Simple. Is it hard? It's not hard now. It's not hard. Just return the one and collect another one.
It's all good in the hood.
See, but in this life, if you know what you are doing, leave. Don't. Or let's say back to what I said. Nothing is ever as it seems. Nothing. Anyway, moving on. From that, PDP governors decided to convene in Ibadan today. I see a lot of people going on about the suspended governor was absent. I'm like, he's suspended for a reason.
But they've even had other meetings without him now. So
he's suspended. He's actually in Nigeria's capacity as of today. He's not a governor. He's not. So what do you want him to go and do there? Like, I don't know. I don't know what people are expecting to happen. Anyway, but we'll see. I'm definitely waiting for the reaction from the NBA. Just waiting. Just holding on and waiting. Now let's move on from that quickly. Just talk about some things. Soldiers have rescued 16 kidnapped passengers in Plateau State. The Nigeria police has sacked an officer who killed one and injured 2 people in Calabar. Sadly, 2 people died and 23 others were injured in an auto crash in Ebonyi State. And now, Lagos State government is now beginning to crack down on illegal rent fees, hikes, and quack estate agents.
That is a very interesting thing.
That's a very interesting thing. And I wanted to bring up the story that we had talked about earlier today, where a particular landlord visits one of his buildings that he has not been in years and finds out that the agent has been collecting 1.3 million naira rent for a rent that he thought they were paying 500,000 for. I personally feel that I'm not God, but I don't think that up to 10 estate agents will make heaven.
that 10 is plenty.
Oh, wow.
That 10 is plenty.
Wow.
Let's be more realistic. Let's be working with figures like 5.
I agree.
Because I actually wish they were here to defend themselves, but I know a lot of real estate agents in Nigeria will tell you, oh, those people are not certified, they're not members of this and that. Trust me, but those are the people that everybody's seeing. Those are the people that are in your faces, And how do you manage a property for the owner, and the rent is pegged at 500 naira for years?
500,000.
Yeah, 500,000 naira. Thank you for the correction. And you're charging more than double that.
See,
you're charging 1.3 million naira,
and the landlord does not even
every time rent is paid, you get more than the owner of the house, and you've been doing that for 3 years.
True, he gets
more than the person that bought the land.
The landlord gets 500,000. He gets 800,000.
The landlord pays tenement rate to the government
for free. 800,000 naira per tenant. I think that a lot of things. You're still thinking about it. I think a lot of people are just wicked.
And the picture that I saw, that thing is like a mini estate.
Yeah, it looks like at least 12 flats.
So if you calculate 800,000 times Dolupo's 12, I was going to say it looks like 40 flats. If you calculate 800,000 by 12,
I think that's fraud. That's just fraud.
The owner gets 500,000 by 12. That's 6 million. 6 million. You get 8 million.
Hold on. You are missing something. So, 800,000 times 12. No, that's not 6 million. That's not 8 million.
It's like 9 point something million or something.
9.6 million.
The owner gets 6 million. You get about 9 point something million.
Now, keep in mind, he's the resident agent there. The landlord still pays him. Of
course, now. And again, every time you bring in a fresh tenant, you still get your agency fees and all those.
Yeah. So I'm sure he's still getting some level of retainership from the man's 500,000. You don't deserve to be on earth. You don't.
And now you've got like 9.6 million, times 3.
I think that's just fraud. There's no.
What the landlord of the house makes in 3 years, you made it in 2, and you still have more than the landlord. You still have another 9.6 million.
It's ridiculous. I think it's just ridiculous. Like, how at times I wonder, like, how do you sleep at night?
So Lagos State government saying that they want to clamp down on agents now. This real estate agents. It's a very, very interesting thing.
I hope they do it.
I don't know how they want to pull it off, but I don't know the jazz that Fashola used. I remember it was under Fashola that the government said you cannot charge more than 1 year rent anymore.
Yeah, I remember.
And that thing became a thing.
It did.
Then a few years after, I moved to Ibadan. And they're also doing 1 year rent. I'm like, how did this Lagos thing become some kind of national thing? But guess what? The 2 year, 3 year rent thing is coming back slowly. People are already saying it now. That, you know what? If you pay 3 years, and one of the reasons why the real estate agents do this is because for each property that they get to rent out, they have multiple agents involved. Someone made a skit of it, and he said in Ibadan, and this particular one, there were like 9 or 10 agents that was taking only one lady. You know, when the lady calls the agent, the main one that she knows, and says she's ready to rent the house, she says, the guy says, okay, let's go. And now goes to someone's office. Someone says, oh yeah, let's go. Then until they get to the property, by that time they had like 4 agents with them. And when they get there, the so-called main one now calls the main one. Who now calls another main one. So at the end of the day, you find out that there's a chain. And so how do they get paid? If you pay only 1 year rent, the main agent takes the 10%. He doesn't care. So if your rent is 1 million naira, you pay, that person takes 100,000. But they'll now tell you, for you to get the house, you have to pay 2 years agency. You pay 1 year rent too, but you pay 2 years agency, 2 years legal,
so that all of them
blah,
will
blah,
have
blah.
money to
because
collect.
even lawyer yourself will still collect your own, you know. And that's where they now start. So at times now they will tell you to even pay 2.5 years agency on a 1 year rent. These are all unprofessional things. And if only government was awake to its responsibilities to the people, you shouldn't allow people to be at the mercy of these people. One, I believe in mass, housing projects that even local government should embark upon, and state and federal. So at every level, you have a guarantee that at least you can get those kind of apartments. And just picture it, 774 local governments. If each local government chairman built 100 houses in 4 years, and each house could accommodate 6 families, times 100 times 4. Do you know how many people would have access to this affordable housing? And the state government did its own. They have mixed development. They have these estates where there are schools, so that your children don't even have to go far. They have the mini marts and everything. This is how we should be thinking. So we shouldn't be at the mercy of Shylock landlords. There are all sorts of people, because the landlord is a businessman at the end of the day. And how you are going to get him? I know that Lagos was saying one time, I think it was under our body that they were saying it, that I think maybe some Olutu, they were saying it, that they're going to peg rent. And how you won't do them? How you won't pull them off? You go tell landlord, say,
you can't charge land for him.
You know how much landlord take arrangements? You know, so let me see how they want to do. Me, I know that everybody would benefit from this if they're able to pull it off.
If it's pulled off.
Maybe they're going to work out some kind of compensation for the landlords. I don't know, but it would be nice to regulate a whole lot of things.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from that quickly. Sadly, a 24-year-old Nigerian man by the name of Mercy Ojedeji has now pleaded guilty to charges of wire fraud and unlawful use of fraudulent immigration documents to work in the United States.
That guy's story has been trending since
about $49,000.
Thursday or Friday or thereabout. You know, funny thing is, I think it's the first man that I am going to hear about that bears the name Mercy. You know, and your name is Mercy, but you have no mercy on your victims and all of that. And for every Nigerian that commits a crime, it rubs off wrongly on the innocent ones every time this happens. It's extremely disgraceful. And funny thing is how you're even like basically trying to get PhD and all of that, and everything is just shrouded in fraud and murder in all sorts of criminal activities. It's just very sad. It
is sad, definitely. Now let's move on from that. Let's go all the way to Mr. Portable. So Mr. Portable is in the news again. Sadly, is not in the news for the right reasons. So yesterday there was announcement from the PPRO of Kwara Police Command that he was arrested for what's the word now? For defamation of character, basically, and threat to life and all that. And it was, I think this was a petition from the Fuji musician Saheed Osupa. I remember this, and there was kind of like an Instagram issue. This was, I think, last week or something. And I think that there was somewhere he apologized. I'm not sure. Not saying that.
No. Yes, you're right. It was some kind of spat on social media. But it was only one person that was just doing the whole talking.
Okay.
So he's dropped a song, or was about to drop a song, that's more or less plagiarized or lifted from Saheed Osupa's song. Now he's done that, and people called him out on it. And rather than told him, I remember there's a song by Olamide. Iru kile yi omani fowoshe. It's a Wasiu Ayinde song.
It's a Wasiu Ayinde song, yeah.
And normally you're supposed to get clearance before you do those things.
Yeah.
There's a new guy now, Aox, that's done a song with Yinka Ayefele. And there's another guy that had done a cover of Ayefele's song. I don't know if he got clearance for it. But at the end of the day, it's a music business. It's a music industry. Artists do lifting here and there from time to time and get away with it. But when you lift from someone and you get called out on it, and rather than go, you now started talking, what's it going to do to you? Is it the first person that after all you did the same to Pasuma and Pasuma did not do anything, blah, 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 that guy must accept you by force, by fire, blah, 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 blah. Saheed Osupa fans now started calling, like, they started busting him online and telling him, guy, don't go there, don't mess around, you know. You could do it with other people, but you're not going to get away with this with the king of music. That's what they call Dr. Saheed Osupa. At the end of the day, he comes out like that apology that he talked about. But Saheed Osupa still didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything.
Then he was now at an event and he sang something from one of his songs that sounded like, I'm not ready for you. When I'm ready, that's my colleague that you say we would take the matter up. Then this guy goes back and makes another live video and starts to curse again.
Oh,
after
really?
the so-called apology.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So he went off on a tangent. Like he went... I still Saheed Osupa did not say anything. Do you understand? So if he's the one that's written the petition, let him go and answer to the petition.
So yeah, according to the Kwara State Police, apparently he had written a petition against him and he was picked up.
You know, when he was picked up, he was still doing a live video.
Oh.
It was live, and of course the police came through.
So apparently he had been granted a 1 million naira bail, but he has also not been able to perfect those bail conditions, so had been remanded in prison in Ilorin.
Now
the man seems to go a lot of places.
The same guy had gone ahead to more or less physically assault one of his so-called label signees then. And that boy actually wrote a petition against him and he got arrested. Yep. And they took him to Abeokuta.
Yeah.
They let him off. Nobody heard about that case anymore.
Yeah.
And he's had other ones. There's a time when he
got picked up in Lagos.
Before he got picked up, there was a time when he was he had bought a car and I think he had not finished paying and they were trying to track him. I saw that video when he more or less jumped over a gate and ran away. Then after that, some guy went to preach. Again, the guy shouldn't have gone to preach in a bar anyway. But there's a video of you physically assaulting the guy. Then he got called out for that. I think this guy, Testimony Jagger, the gospel artist, they took it upon themselves and he apologized. Then he now was at his bar, or he wasn't there, and he got a call that government land people from Ogun State were there, and there's evidence of them being assaulted and everything.
That case is still
And
in
you not
court.
even went ahead and made a video. And that's when he was arrested again.
Yeah.
That's the second time he was arrested. Then he was arrested. He was there for a couple of days. Then they let him go. And you know this thing is pending. Then he was lying low. Before he got arrested, he was doing all sorts of jazz. He went to church. He went to the mosque. He did everything. Then, barely a month after that, you are in this.
Okay, so now his wars have not ended because according to another report, another set of people are now saying that they also are now written another petition in Kwara State as well, saying that he was paid to perform at a show at the Kwara Tampan Fiesta, and he was paid 6.3 million naira, and it was a no-show.
Well, so he has to make a refund. Those people have lost money, and
So
it's not just the amount they give him now.
held at September 29, 2024, and he was asked to
Make a refund, and he did not.
and he has not made a refund since then. So
The truth is that there is no artist, especially in Nigeria, that will not have this issue of having to make a refund. Maybe largely due to not being properly organized or some things beyond their control. But there's hardly any artist in Nigeria that has not gone through this. But if he makes it a regular thing, he's just the so-called brand that he's trying to build. He's going to destroy it. Like he's going to destroy it by himself.
So at the moment now, and it's the same Ilorin. So people that are looking for him in Ilorin.
So maybe he should rent an apartment because he's going to spend some time there.
I don't know. It's not.
The sad part is that whenever he gets off the hook, he just goes right back.
I think that maybe some of these cases need to get to a proper conclusion.
Yeah, that's always been the problem with us in Nigeria. When there's a lot of hue and cry, they just let the case die, and that's the end. But this guy is looking like a repeat offender.
Yeah,
He's
so
looking like he really will probably never be remorseful in his life the way he's going.
maybe it's time to
know?
actually let him, do the time for some of all this crime that is being committed. Anyway, moving on from that quickly, Access Bank has now secured final approvals to acquire the National Bank of Kenya.
Access Bank is moving. Nigerian banks are not doing badly on the continent, especially. And,
with all the money that they collect from us, how would they do bad?
Well, the Nigerian banks are not doing badly, and that's a good one for them. We know that there are other banks, GT, Echo is ECOWAS Bank anyway. So, but there's GT, I think First
Zenith
Bank and Zenith and all of that. Some of them are actually really doing well on the continent, and it's good. It also adds to their profile and everything. I hope it also adds to the quality of service, and let them also realize that some of the things that they get away with in Nigeria, they might not be able to get away with it outside Nigeria.
Exactly. Now let's move on to a bit of international story. 6 people have died as I think a helicopter crash a plane crash in New York.
It's becoming like every week now.
Yeah.
The other sad one was the helicopter crash. An entire family. There was supposed to be someone's birthday and all of that. That was a few days ago. I'm sure it's not even up to a week that this had happened. Because I saw pictures of them before they took off and everything, and people are really posting a lot about that family and all of that. What's going on with U.S. aviation? I hope it's something that they can quickly nip in the bud. It's becoming very scary, and I'm really worried for them because I don't think we used to be this bad. Yeah, and I hope there's no sabotage involved or something.
You hear a lot of it.
But it's becoming rampant now in America, yes, and I'm really worried for
it's
them.
actually very, very sad. Also, before we leave those matters, looks like there's an issue with Algeria and France. Now.
Are there tariffs involved?
No, there are no tariffs involved. But they are expelling themselves. And now, so what they're saying is that apparently an Algerian national or 3 Algerian nationals were arrested in France. A few months ago, this was saying that these people were suspected to kidnapping a critic of the Algerian government in Paris last year. They have not been released, and this is kind of causing some diplomatic issues. And Algeria has now expelled 12 diplomatic 12 French diplomats.
I'm a bit lost. There's someone that critiques the Algerian government,
yeah,
and the person is based in France.
Yes.
And
3 Algerians were now arrested in France in connection to the kidnapping of that person.
Okay, so the person was kidnapped allegedly by Algerians.
Yes.
Then the French government now kidnapped them for a crime that, allegedly happened on their own soil. And now Algeria is pushing back by kicking out.
Yeah, that you should release our people. There's nothing.
And are they sure they're not culpable?
France has said that, according to them, they are going to respond immediately.
That's what Algeria said.
France said.
Oh, France said that. Please, whatever response you people are responding, let's not be more than tariff, please. Let's not have any physical responses. We don't want any more fronts.
Anyway, let's go on. Let's do a bit of sports before we go. First things first, Lobby Stars have now been relegated after 27 years in the MPFL. Did you see this coming?
It's a sad day, very, very sad day for football in Nigeria. Lobby. The funny thing is they actually tried to put everything in place this season.
It just didn't work.
They tried. If you look at the kind of coaches that they went to get, it's just funny how these things happen. That even seasons when they didn't even have this much support,
At least they pull through.
That's football for you. It's a sad day, for me personally, because it's just like rain and tax now. Lobby Stars will always be in even if they're not winning it, but they'll always be.
The funny thing is that I can't even. What state is Lobby Stars from?
Benue.
Oh. The funny thing, I'm not even sure I know what state. I never knew what state it was. But Lobby Stars sounds like, 3SC, Lobby Stars, Rangers, Enugu Rangers, Kano Pillars.
The funny thing is, even 3SC has been relegated in recent times.
Oh, yes.
But not Lobby.
You don't understand, right? But, those are names that in Nigerian football, you grew up with. It's Lobby Stars. Lobby Stars is part of those names that you just grew up with. So it was just oh, okay. When I saw these things, I was like, oh, so there's not going to be Lobby Stars next season. That was what it meant. And the season has not even ended. So it was really, really bad.
Yeah, I think they have about 6 games to go to the end. They just played week 33.
Yeah. Also, now the MPFL is not smiling. Last week, it was 3SC that got the stick for what happened. Now, Nasarawa United has now been fined 6 million naira. I think we spoke about it here, about their under-19 team, how the person went to gag a referee. And now the team has now been fined 6 million naira. And that particular person has been banished from ever going to
the right thing to do is not to banish the person. The right thing to do
is arrest,
is to get him to court.
It's attempted,
because that's murder. Assault. That's a whole lot of things, and there's proof, there's video, and pictorial evidence.
Yeah, it is. It's such a sad one. Also, it's a sad one. It's been maybe a sad weekend for Nigerian football. First, we heard about Christian Chukwu passing on.
Chairman.
Then Charles Bassey.
His teammate, they were both amazing people, heroes of the 1980 Nations Cup victory that Nigeria had and all of that. Chairman Christian Chukwu was the captain of that team, and of course, Paul Bassey, because these men are old now.
71-year-olds.
They all had an interesting Nations Cup. Arguably one of Nigeria's finest moments at the Nations Cup. And
that was the first one they won, yeah?
And we were hosting, so it was just a beautiful time. Then I think we had President Shagari in place and all. And it was that old trophy that had the big ears and all of that. I remember that trophy very well. So it's really sad that this man passed on. One of the highlights of... apart from all the things, because Christian Chukwu also now went on to become the coach of the Eagles.
Yeah.
He coached them for a few years. Then the Football Federation ended up owing him
Yeah, I think
And
they're
all of
still
that.
owing him.
Yeah, then when he got ill a few years ago, an amazing human being stepped up. His name is Femi Otedola. And he picked all the bills. You know, you should have seen his tribute. He wrote a tribute to Christian Chukwu when he passed on at the weekend. You know, he wrote a tribute to him. God bless Femi Otedola. God bless the Christian Chukwu family. I pray God. And also the Basi family. I pray that the Lord would grant them, you know, all the things that they need at a period like this. All the support, all the love and care that they would need to go through and pull through. You know, these men are most likely patriarchs, most definitely patriarchs in their families, and it's a sad thing to experience.
Yeah, now moving on, still talking about football. Carlos Alcaraz has now defeated Lorenzo Musetti
Tennis.
to win. Yeah.
It's a football.
Oh, sorry. Oh, so sorry. That was a slip of tongue. Anyway, to win his first Monte Carlo Masters title.
Finally. You know, and Alcaraz is really becoming one of those people. I'm thinking that maybe we're going to have that that quartet again. That kind of Sina, Alcaraz. Maybe they're going to be the Djokovic and the Federer and the Nadal and the Murray of that golden era.
Why did you always add Andy Murray into
Please
that?
stop.
I'm just saying.
You and this Annie Idibia video, Sha.
What video? I don't even know what you. Anyway, okay. Lagos State government said you should stop entering rickety buses.
They should get the rickety buses off the road.
I'm just saying.
You're saying they should stop entering.
That's what they said.
If they don't see bus, they will enter rickety buses. Trust me. Rain they fall now, if they go so you no go enter the rickety. Even rain no fall, say you dey bus stop now, only rickety show, you no go enter. No, they talk all these things now. Now you go make sure say that rickety bus no work. This is you guys. You have your transport people. When Lamata, what's those people called? Those ones in white.
One.
No, the ones in white. VIO.
Oh yeah.
You see them stop private cars strictly.
No, they don't
check
remember.
everything.
They don't remember.
Use the same energy for these rickety buses. Now lie. Driving away from the airport, every stop is an illegal bus stop. Who's going to stop them? Just opposite last mile office there at Oshodi. They are there blocking the old freeway. Who's stopping them from there? Nobody. Now you're telling Baba, no, they give people advice when you know say you said no if you take, because even any of your staff did that bus stop, they go enter rickety.
Anyway,
what they do anyhow?
You're now hungry.
I'm not. I'm just telling them the truth. Don't tell. You are telling people. It's like saying, oh, don't go to bad hospital. Oh God, why is there a bad hospital in existence in the first place?
Yeah.
Isn't it someone's job to ensure that it doesn't happen? Don't take your children to mushroom schools. Why would there be mushroom schools in the first place? Isn't it someone's job? So why are there rickety buses? Lagos State, why are there rickety buses on the road? Why are there rickety buses on the road? You say you ban Okada. We see the Okada, they move. Why are there rickety buses? Why are all those things happening? If we're not doing by now, I bring the private sector in, make the thing step up. You understand? But which one be rickety?
Anyway, on that note, that's all we're able to take today on the bar. I'll drink my water and be quiet, because at this point there's nothing else.
No,
drops mic. He has dropped the mic.
Make government shall know they talk those things. You say you're banning rickety buses. To be very serious, why are there rickety buses in the first place? And private vehicles are being scrutinized. They will check everything. As soon as VIO is done with it, there's road safety waiting in front. After road safety, there's police. If you don't believe me, drive around Otedola Bridge. If you don't believe me, drive around the road to Oshodi when you are leaving Maryland. They're there.
They're there.
Checking. But the same road that you're on, the commercial buses will pull past you. Nobody's stopping them.
Past?
Nobody.
What's it called? Abiola Gardens.
They
stop you and the bus is right there.
The bus is there. Nobody's looking at them.
Anyway, on that note, that's all we have to take today on the bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of the Boom Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Peace.